Welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
In this episode, bad players and how not to be a bad player. Welcome to Wizards of the Tower.
Roleplay.
And we're going to be talking about how to be a bad player. Or how not to be a bad player.
Not to be a bad player.
I think Tom is cold.
Yeah.
He's got his jacket on.
Well, it's,
All right.
How to engage in your game as you play with the other players and the DM, or how not to.
Right.
So we've gamed for a while. We've had a lot of people through our campaigns, and we came up with a list of all the different kind of players we've had that have been bad players.
Yeah, so I've been playing since 1979, so I've seen every one of these,
Yeah.
and I may even have one or two that we don't have listed that I'm going to throw out there. So we're going to start off with the
sleeper. So here I am. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. Remember, the sleeper does this.
Tom.
Huh? What?
It's your turn.
Or were we?
Yeah, you're in the middle of combat. It's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the sleeper. They don't put their head down and snooze, because that's a dead giveaway. What people do is they'll sit there like this, and they're up, and they're just kind of like somnambulating.
Well,
like
we've seen them with their head tucked down too.
I guess so, but it's hard to tell, like, if you've got someone tucked down, if they're like staring at their hands, or they're actually asleep unless they're snoring.
A sleeper.
Okay.
That's a fun one.
We've had a few, and I don't want to say anything bad, because I know some people work long hours.
Or odd shifts.
And they get like that. But, it's kind of like, okay, coffee.
Monster?
Monster drink, something. Tea. Soda pops. Keep yourself awake, at least for a little bit, while we're gaming, okay?
Yeah. The talker, the chatter, the interrupter.
What?
The talker.
The what?
The talker.
The who?
Stop.
Sorry. Yeah,
the
those
talker,
people.
the chatter, the interrupter. We had one young lady that when I was DMing, I would be describing things, and then in the most shrill voice that you can imagine would interrupt me in the middle of my dialogue or what I'm describing.
Yeah.
And she would do it every time. And I finally stopped and glared at her and said, if you don't stop, I'm not going to describe anything, and you're all going to miss out.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think that.
Unfortunately, she had that kind of voice that just made your skin crawl.
Especially when she got really loud.
Yeah,
and she could be
very loud, very loud. So, some people, and I don't know if it's like adult ADHD or adult, whether it's some kind of an adult sort of autism, don't have a moderator on their voice. They'll just blast out, like yelling in a weird tone of voice. In a weird tone of voice. And you almost have to tell them, like, look, use your inside voice, okay? You're not outside screaming at a baseball match. Use your inside voice. We don't want to be blasted. I worked with a lady like that who would get in your ear and just screech in your ear. And it would hurt. It was painful. So they're very difficult and very annoying to deal with, especially when someone like the DM is trying to describe the inside of a dungeon and what you guys should be looking for when you're going down the stairs.
Right. And along with the interrupter, you got the person who's going to sit there talking and chatting. They're talking about whatever else as the DM is playing, and that's a form of interruption as well.
And we have that problem a little bit in our group, because we have like side games and things that people... And again, I tend to think maybe it's a little bit about adult ADHD, basically, wanting to get a point across, or wanting to, speak about something before you forget about it. And I think we all do that to a certain degree. But the thing is I think it's one of those things where you just need to realize what you're doing is not really that good.
Yeah. So the next person we've had in our group was the crafter.
Oh boy. So this was the same lady with the screechy voice who would sit there and knit.
Yeah. Hey, it's your turn. Hey, it's your turn.
Oh, let me put this away. Oh, okay, so, where were we? Yeah, those people.
Or needlepoint.
Or needlepoint.
We actually had a person that also did apps, creating apps for iPhones and Android.
That's right. Yeah.
The programmer.
Yeah, the programmer.
Kind of fit in with that crafter.
Yeah. On cloud 9 the whole time. I mean, so disconnected from the game, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Again, if you're not willing to stay engaged with a group, then why are you there? Really? Why are you there? If the game isn't enough stimulation for you, what else do you need?
Yeah. And one of them that I just mentioned falls into the next one, the Technomancer.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting there programming on their iPhone or Android or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think it was an iPhone.
It was an iPhone.
Or playing on their tablet and playing on their laptop instead of...
They're playing two other simultaneous games on their laptop while they're trying to game in this game.
And it's like they're playing Tetris or something while they're playing...
Yeah, they're, or they're
Minecraft.
chatting. They're chatting with some other people in, across the world constantly.
You can hear that. One reason not to have tech at the table.
That's one reason. The Technomancers to me are really annoying, I have to tell you. I'm there to game. Most people in the game are there to game. If you're not there to game, or if you want to play Minecraft or you want to play, Destiny 5, fine. Do it at home. We're there to play Pathfinder.
Or D&D
or D&D.
Or whatever game.
Or whatever tabletop game. We're there to do that. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm just saying that keep in mind that people aren't going to like what you're doing because they're there to play a certain game. They're not there to be distracted by that.
Yeah. And people do get upset with that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like trying to speak to someone who is constantly disconnected from you.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get your point across and they're not paying attention to you, what's the point of speaking to them?
Yeah. The controller.
All right, so we've had a lot of problems with this in the past. I'll let you go ahead on that.
Yeah.
But I've got some things to say about that too.
We had a guy who would play, and basically he would tell everybody what to do. And even though, it may not be the right idea, it was his idea, and you had to run with his idea. And I remember a game that two of us were playing a brother-sister character, and he would say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and I and this other player would turn to each other and say, no, we're going to do this. No. And it's like, oh, we already did it. And he would get so mad. He would get so upset. He'd tell people what spell they should be casting and what ability they should be using, and basically trying to play their character for them, even though he didn't know their character. And it was so annoying. The funny thing is when I and the other player would do that, what we did would be the right thing to do, and what he wanted to do would be the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And we found a lot of times that what he wanted to do was really the wrong thing to do, and it caused a lot of problems, and we actually lost some players because
we lost some players because of that.
Yeah.
No one liked to be told what to do. No one liked to be controlled. So what you get is what's the tabletop tactician kind of person who has the whole game worked out in their head, and as long as everyone follows their master plan...
The general.
Yeah, as long as everyone follows their master plan, this is going to work out, we're going to defeat these ogres. Never minding the fact that there's probably 10 other ways to defeat these ogres, and they don't have anything to do with you.
Right.
So, we had a guy like that, and he was responsible for running off more players, because they just couldn't stand him running the game. They just couldn't stand it. And I completely and I know that's the case. No one likes to be told what to do all the time. That's part of the thing.
I'm playing my character. Don't tell me how to play it.
Yeah,
I'm not telling you how to play yours.
Exactly. That's kind of the thing about role-playing games is, you're free to role-play your character as you see fit, for good or bad. Okay? It may work out, where you'll defeat the ogre, or it may not work out where you get killed. But at least you controlled your own destiny. And I think that's what really chafes people is when you have the controller there who basically tells everybody what to do. Okay, no, I'm going to enter the room. You're going to cast fireball. You're going to debuff, and then I'm going to do this, and then we're going to do that.
And you are going to creep across over here doing this and that.
Yeah, and then my question when that happens is, what are you? Are you a rogue? You're a rogue telling everybody to do this? You're not a paladin. You know, you're not a cavalier. You're a rogue. What's your charisma? What is it? 6. You have a 6 charisma and you're trying to tell everybody what to do? Get off it. I mean, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, controllers don't want to role play. They just want to run the game.
The power gamer.
Power gamer. That's another thing. It's like /power gamer. Controller /power gamer.
Yeah. They min-max and power game and tell everyone else what to do. And they never fail. And so anyway.
You know, you can make suggestions to other characters. Right. You can say, okay, Barbarian, hold on a second. I'm going to throw a fireball. If you jump in, you're going to get hit by it. So just hold a second. I'll throw the fireball, and then you can charge in. You can make suggestions like that. Right. But try not to take that too far.
The no-show. I guess I got to do the show all by myself. Where's the no-show? Nothing's more frustrating to a DM than the player who doesn't show up time and time and time again. You know, we all have emergencies that happen or we get sick, and you know, we just have to make do. You know, emergencies happen and work calls in and you got to do work. And
you can also show up late. And where are we? Did we attack the castle yet? I'm so sorry, my car. Do you all mind if I eat this big giant burrito?
You know what? I just forgot. I've got a hockey game. We'll see you later.
So you see what I'm talking about? Okay, you start out with 5 people. You end up with 4 or 3, and then maybe one of them ends up coming in late or leaving early. I know it's hard, okay? I know, scheduling, kids, jobs, whatever.
Oh, sorry, my girlfriend wanted me to go to the movie, so, and I've only got about 5 minutes, so I'll have to leave here in just a moment.
Sure.
Mark in the Gamers.
Yeah, Mark in the Gamers. Yeah, he just shows up, drops in for an hour, then splits. I know it's hard, because people have all kind of schedules, kids, whatever.
Or you get sick.
Yeah, but people, commitment, okay? Commitment's a big thing. Commitment to a job, commitment to a relationship, commitment to an endeavor, commitment to a game group, commitment to a sport, whatever. Commitment, okay? I hate to say this, but people will judge you on how you commit to things. They really will. Yeah. They'll call you a stand-up person, you know, they'll call you an engaged person if you commit to things and stick with them. If you're flighty and you hop in and out, I'm sorry to tell you, no one's going to want you in their game. They're not. They're just not. They're just not. You're unreliable. So please try to commit.
The non-engaged.
Oh man.
What is the non-engaged?
Essentially, it's someone who just sits there and
they never role play.
They never role play.
They never give any ideas.
No.
They only roll their dice when it comes time for their combat.
Yeah. They as far as they're concerned, they could be sitting in a bus terminal. They could be sitting at home staring at reruns. They could be, you know, high on a couch somewhere. I don't know where they think they're going to be. But they're just totally not engaged. And you wonder why they're even playing at all. You ready? You going to do this? You going to throw that spell?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I wasn't engaged there for a moment.
Yeah, sorry. I just wasn't thinking. Yeah. Again, it comes down to commitment. Are you going to be committed to the gaming group? Are you going to be committed to what's going on? You know, and I know that people have issues, family issues, spouse issues, children, commitments other places. But if you're going to make a commitment to be with a group and to participate in a game, it's just like anything else, just like a job, just like anything else. Stay committed and give them the time and energy because they're giving up their time and energy to be there. Show them a little bit of respect.
Yeah.
Okay, by being there yourself.
The drunk.
Yeah, we've had some drunks.
We had a guy who would show up, he was already half drunk, and he would show up with 2 big the big monster Guinness, I think it was.
No, the Foster's
or
cans.
Foster's.
The big giant Foster's
monster
cans.
and drink both of them in a session of 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean, he was already drunk. He'd pour 2 of those down and probably reach for 1 or 2 small ones that he had in his backpack.
We also had another one that would show up with 2 growlers.
Yeah, 2 big giant growlers and chug them down.
And then usually they start getting loud and interrupting. And
they do a lot of stuff.
So that leads into
other issues.
Back to the talker, the interrupter, the chatter, the disengaged.
But here's the thing about drunks, and having, drank a lot of alcohol myself, I can tell you how it is. When you're drunk, you think you're the funniest guy in the room.
Or you're the angriest guy in the room.
Or, that. But you really think that you're the life of the party.
Yeah.
However, if other people aren't drinking and they want you to function as a normal person in the game, you're coming off like a dumb drunk. Yeah. So that's all there is to it. I'm sorry.
And there's adults at the table, once in a while having a little, drink of, meat or beer or whatever's fine.
Yeah.
As long as you never take it over the top. One is fine. When you start getting past one and you're already coming in half drunk anyway, then it becomes a problem to the game, and that's not good.
There is there's a social aspect. People get together, they talk, they chatter. They party, you pour out a little wine, whatever. Okay. Whether you agree with that or not is part of this issue. But whether you think that's appropriate, okay, some people don't drink. That's fine. You be respectful. Some people drink a little. Some people drink a lot. The thing is trying to keep something like that in moderation so that you just don't become a dumb drunk and you can't function in your game.
The bookworm. You enter into the dungeon. It is dark. It has a foul smell to it. You can see 4 beady eyes across the room. What do you do? What are you doing?
Huh? Oh, we're in a dungeon, right?
Yeah, didn't you just hear what I said?
No, sorry, I was just reading this book, sorry.
I can't say we've ever had the bookworm in our group.
I know that kind of thing exists, okay? Yeah. I just feel that
it also is part of the non-engaged.
Yes, the non-engaged. We've never I don't even know what I would do if I was in a group and we're trying to game and someone just reaches over and pulls out a freaking Sapkowski book and just starts reading. Just like, what? Dude, this isn't a library. What are you doing, man? Are you looking something up? No, I'm just bored. I want to read. It's like, well, get the hell out of here. What are you going to say? We've never really had that, which is good.
No, we had the bookworm.
Yeah.
But that's...
I can definitely see that happen.
When we were coming up with this, we come up with that one.
Yeah.
And Tom was like, what? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've actually seen, I think I've seen one person in a game that was sitting there reading the whole time.
Okay.
And they, they would, I don't know how they would be engaged, but they were, because as soon as it came to their turn, they would, okay, okay. And then they'd open it back up and start reading again.
God, I don't remember anybody like that, but I'm sure that's happened. So maybe somebody can identify with that situation.
The significant other.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of them.
The significant other than Tom and I, he's my husband and I'm his wife, but significant other, partner.
Yeah.
But we've had some come into the group that show up only because they wanted to keep an eye up on their partner. Or their partner says, hey, come game with me, and they didn't know anything what was going on.
Yeah, or they didn't have any idea, or they'd never done it before and they wanted to try it, but they're really not that interested. Yeah. It's just because they're there because they think maybe they should be there for their partner, that valuable time you're supposed to spend together, that kind of stuff. Really, I think what's happened most of all is spouses or significant others show up to keep an eye on their spouse to make sure they're not flirting too much with other people in the group.
If they're really not engaging.
Yeah, because they've heard stories about people going to gaming groups and meeting other people and then bailing and then, it's, sorry, I'm going with this person I met at the gaming group. We share more than you and I could ever share. See you later. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've had some angry spouses. We had a spouse group that brought a baby.
No, she wanted to bring her baby.
No, she brought a babe one time. She brought a baby. You remember when Nate was gaming and he was like talking, he's like, we heard this coo sound, he looks down, he goes, hey, there's a baby right there. Well, what's that baby doing?
That, and then she decided not to game with us anymore, but then she would show up at 8 o'clock at night when we were still gaming, and
Yeah.
she'd just start peeking in the window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pound, 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 pound.
Once
Oh, I gotta go. And
I gotta go. It's the girl. I gotta go. Yeah, there's that. There's the kind of spouse, and also there's the kind of spouse that has a lot of fun until their significant other shows up, and then they have no fun, and then they gotta leave. We've had those before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this lady who was in our group who was just totally fun to game with. Absolutely,
she was a great player.
Great player. And all of a sudden her husband showed up, and it was just like, ooh, who put a turd in the punch bowl? Because then she couldn't do anything, because then he was always staring at her, reproachfully. Like, you're having a lot of fun here, you never have this kind of fun with me. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Or they break up, and then...
Yeah. Yeah. And then the group wants to break up because the spouses break up. That can happen too.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff can happen with significant others. I sort of feel a little bit of trepidation when someone says, you know, we're a couple and we like to game together, because we've had a lot of bad experiences with that in the past. It doesn't always mean it's going to be the case. It's just we've had a lot of bad experiences with mind flayers when that happens.
Yes.
Delaney and I are a couple. We've been married a long time. We've been together a longer time. We don't have that issue because we game we have a certain focus that we have together as we game.
It's one of the things that we do together, and it's one of the things that we want to do together and like to do together.
We don't have sort of a divergent pathway of, I want to game, oh, I'll stick with you for a bit, and then they split. That kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I've got a tale about the significant other.
Okay.
Before we started gaming, and I had my boys. And my boys were, I think they were 9 or 10, and they were gaming. And when we'd game at my house, it was fine that they joined us. But we went to one of the other players' house and played, and their significant other was part of the group, and she threw a major hissy fit about my boys playing. She thought they were going to make a mess.
Oh.
And we ended up, the game fell apart right then and there. It was a big, huge argument, and I went back home with my boys. I was hot, and my boys were upset and sad as all can be, and then I get a call, well, you can come back, they just can't come back. And it's like, wait a minute. And it was because of the significant other. And then there was this, oh, well, we'll put plastic all over the trash bags all over every place so they won't make a mess. And it's like these people had birds, they had dogs, they had cats. So there's that other side of the significant other.
Yeah. Look, I know about kids. Okay, I was a kid once. All right, you know, kids can be kind of sloppy a little bit. They spill things, whatever. But kids can
Adults
also
do too.
Adults do too. But kids can also be very, very respectful.
All the chip pieces we find underneath the table from adults.
Yeah. So kids can be very respectful also, and they can all. And this is one way of teaching them to be respectful.
Right.
Is to involve them in a group with other people. Okay. So, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as they're mature enough to game. That's fine. Right. But then again, it's a way to teach maturity. So,
the artist.
Yeah, we had a guy. I'm not going to say his name.
Another group we played in.
In a group we were in, who used to sit there and sketch anime the whole time. It was crappy anime. I mean, you know, big eye, small mouth, big deal. You know, he was never going to be a Makimoto or whatever. He was just drawing it for his own pleasure or something like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but he was not.
But he was not engaged. No, he would just sit there. He would just sit there like this. While everybody else is playing, he'd be over there like this. And it'd be his turn, he'd be like,
what's going on? Yeah.
And he would just randomly roll something. Okay, 14. 14? You went down 14 stairs? Oh, are we going downstairs? Oh,
I guess checking for traps.
Yeah, I'm checking for traps. You're not a rogue, okay? Oh, I'm not. I'm a paladin. Right. Okay, yeah, totally disengaged, okay? You know, I'm an artist. I like to draw. I like to sculpt. I like to do all kind of stuff. But I don't do it when we game.
Except for it lets you journal. It's part of your character's journal.
But I have to journal when we game. That's different. We have to journal because we have to keep a written record of what's happening. And I learned that the hard way when we were in a game and we got a bunch of loot and I didn't write down what the loot was, and the next time we got together, no one knew what the hell kind of loot we had. Magic stuff. items, gold, treasure, armor. No one knew. It's like, wow, that wand of fireballs would have come in handy right now against those orcs. We had one, but everybody forgot about the fact that we had one.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I journal.
Right, but you don't let it distract from you.
No, I typically journal when you're explaining to somebody something that I already know, and I can take about a minute and quickly write down something, because it's very important to keep a journal in that sense.
Right, but you're setting your pen down. You're not continuing.
No,
draw.
no, I don't do that.
Yeah, the rules lawyer.
Oh boy.
No, you're doing that wrong. That's not the way that spell works. But I'm the DM. Well, it doesn't matter. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Rules lawyers want to argue with the DM all the time. Okay. Now here's the thing. Anybody who's ever played any kind of a tabletop role-playing game that's controlled by a DM knows what the DM says goes. Okay. And a lot of times that's basically to keep the players from dying.
Yeah.
All right. So they'll come up with a hand of God kind of thing to keep the whole party from, getting crushed by the giant rock or something like that, because the party was stupid enough to walk into the cave.
Sometimes rules lawyers like your general or controller too.
Yeah, they are. They like to get one up on the DM, the other players, whatever. Yeah, they know the book inside and out. I get this idea that rules lawyers sit there alone in a room for 36 hours straight and go through the book and make notes and everything, and in their minds they're conceiving these strategies and characters and how best to beat the system. I think that rules lawyers are always those people who always want to try to beat the system, always want to put one over on the man. So whether the man is a DM, whether the man is another character, another player, whatever, they're always trying to do that.
Yeah.
And we've had some. Sometimes it's rules lawyer / controller, and that's even worse.
Then you have the arguer.
Again, kind of a rules lawyer.
Right.
Wants to argue every point.
Argue every point, and maybe they don't like the rule that you created. Now, in tabletop gaming, the DM rules. The DM has the right to change a rule at any time that they feel it doesn't fit into their game, as long as you explain it, why, and here's how it's going to work. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy we had in our group that did not like that. Well, you didn't say that at the start of the campaigns. You can't change the rule.
Yeah.
And he would argue. It was funny because when he DM'd, he'd wear the shirt that says, "Don't argue with the DM."
Yeah.
And then there's a player, he would come in and he would argue
with the DM.
Oh man, it would just yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, guy, if you're watching this, that's kind of how it was. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. And there's nothing that makes a DM madder than somebody who just wants to argue with what the DM does.
Pick a fight all the time.
Or the DM who wants to argue with his players. You're not going to keep your players around.
Yeah.
If you just want to argue with them.
And we've had DMs before that we've met boast about lording over the DM, lording over the characters, and arguing them into corners and stuff like that about their actions. And after a while, the characters are like, "Why am I putting up with this, man?
Yeah.
It's not fun. Yeah, I'm like, this is like arguing with my mother-in-law at Thanksgiving. Why am I here?
Right. Curses.
We've had a lot of foul-mouthed people. Foul-mouthed people. It could be a generational thing, okay? In our generation, you usually didn't do a lot of cursing around people in a sense of in public and common decency. You just didn't.
And there are certain words you never use.
There's certain words you never use. Yeah, you never dropped F-bombs in mixed company with people of different ages, especially around children.
Yeah.
You just never spoke like that because it was when you were with polite company. And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, locker room talk." Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, locker room talk, whatever, okay. But in polite company and with your social graces, you never spoke like that. There's always a saying that if you spoke like a fool, people would take you for a fool. Okay? And I tend to think that people who curse constantly are foolish. And people take them for being fools.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of inappropriate things being said at the table. Usually from males. Not all the time, but usually from males.
Yeah.
And they just don't understand that when you're in mixed company, some people are really offended by foul language and obscenities. So again, that goes down to being, you're in a social group with people. Respect each other. If you expect them to respect you, respect them.
Yeah. The perv.
I couldn't remember if we ever had any kind of like a perv person in our group. Delaney's...
The perv person is in their role playing, they really get into, well, I'm going to do this to that, and hit on this young, the young barmaid, and I'm going to do this and that. And I don't think we've ever had anybody who has a perv in the game, but is it necessary in the game? I don't think it is. No, we knew somebody who was a perv outside of the game.
Yeah, that's different. That's another... We don't want to talk about that because we get into some legal issues there. But yeah, okay. So, in role-playing, try to remember that when you're role-playing your role-playing game like this isn't... It typically is not sexual kink role-playing like you might do with your partner or with people you meet, okay? We're here to play a specific game.
Are there any girls in the bar?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm doing them.
Yeah. Now, as part of plot lines, we've had people do seduction to get something, to get information or something like that. Now, that's been part of kind of the interaction that the characters have. Right. Okay? And like I have, in one of the games we played, which we haven't played in a while, I have a cleric, high-level cleric, and he has a follower. And the two of them are close, but they're not necessarily intimate. And when I would describe that, people in the group would be like, oh yeah, are they sleeping together? It's like, no, they're close, but they're not intimate. Okay? You guys understand the difference between that? The difference between that point, that they're close friends, close companions.
They might even sleep in the same tent, but they're not sleeping together.
They're not sleeping together. They actually have like that boundary, that layer. Okay, so for some reason, I know like people got dirty minds or whatever. Some people just can't get that, and I kind of wonder a lot if they confuse the idea of role playing game here with like some kind of porn role playing or something. It's like you wonder that stuff gets out of control pretty quick. So again, please keep it social. Please keep it on a level of maturity.
Or you might have the player who's got the character who's a female, and they describe him with these huge, tracts of land.
Yeah.
And, and they flash a picture up, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. So
it's just like.
I had a friend who, whenever he played games online, he always had a female character. And he said it's because if I'm going to look at something for 4 hours, I want to look at this chick's butt. And I was like...
That's the perv.
Okay, dude, right, whatever. I mean, you're the one who's got to do that, okay? I typically play a person who kind of mirrors me, which is essentially sort of like a fighter with a moral conscience.
Yeah.
There you go. Simple.
The politician priest. That's the person who comes into the game and all they want to do is talk politics and religion.
Yeah.
And those two things really don't belong in any kind of a game, because inside of your group, you're going to have a mixed bunch of people, of beliefs, and it's best to keep that stuff away. And we had two guys in a group that were diametrically opposed politically and religiously
and philosophically.
Yeah. And they would just, they would argue.
Snipe.
And it would, be during the game, and it's like stop, or during the break, breaking for a meal.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of tension.
Yeah, we've broken up games. We've broken up campaigns because of that. Not we've broken up, but campaigns that we've been in have broken up because of political dissension or religious dissension.
Yeah.
Delaney and I are of a certain political bent, a certain religious bent, a certain philosophical bent. But that doesn't mean we can't interact with someone who is different than us, okay? Right. Because there is that mutual respect. As long as that mutual respect doesn't border on the edge of hatred, okay, and disdain, that's different. But when someone's like, well, I just like to live and let live, it's like, okay, that's a good philosophy, live and let live. If you can't live and let live for a few hours every month or every couple weeks, what kind of life do you live? Really? Are you just the kind of person who's so overly contentious always ready to pick a fight over your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, your life philosophy, boy, you must be just brutal to be around.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, just try to give it a rest for a while in a group so that you can have some fun. That's kind of what it's about, right? Having fun. Now, we have a strict belief system when we create groups, right?
Yep.
No politics, no religion. Delaney talks to people beforehand, before they come into our group.
Yep.
She says that. No politics, no religion at the table.
Yep.
And it's worked out pretty good since we have that rule.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, did you watch the Nuggets game last night?
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
And the sports draft for football.
You, yeah.
I'm going to see what what the Dolphins are going to come up with this
my
year.
fantasy game guy. I got this guy, and man, I got this guy, and I'll tell you what.
Sorry.
Are we playing some? Sorry, was it my turn? The Sports Fanatic.
Sports is sports.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of folks like that, and I don't want to get too far down that road. But please, again, be respectful. You know, you're there to play role playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, people seem to think that it's also a social chatter time when you can sit like you're in a sports bar and just yak about this guy's stance when he throws the ball. We're there to play Pathfinder or any tabletop game, okay? You're wasting other people's time because they're there to play. They're not there to listen to your fantasy football league. They're not. They're just not.
So yeah, the sports jack. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of our list of bad players, and we've seen almost every one of them in a gaming group that either I have been in or Tom and I have been in.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny just throwing them out there, bad players, and what is a bad player, and that's to me is what a bad player. A bad player is not somebody who doesn't know the rules or doesn't know their character that well because maybe they're still learning.
Yeah.
Or they don't do voices, or they don't come up with tactics in the game because maybe that's not their kind of a person. Maybe they're very introverted. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're very extroverted too. Mm-hmm. And they talk, but they don't do it to the point of ruining the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe this wasn't quite fair. Us just kind of lambasting bad people and stuff in games. But it's kind of one of those things that I think just about anybody who role plays in role-playing games like this can, something they have in common when they talk about people who used to be in the groups and the issues that you have.
Yeah.
I promise we're going to do an episode sometime about good players.
We will.
Players that we've really enjoyed being with who are excellent players. So in the future, I promise we will do an episode like that.
So if you have idea of what bad players are, please let us know. We'd like to hear what your ideas of bad players are.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll discuss that in a future episode. Or what you think a great player, a good player is.
Yep.
So anyway, with that, we're going to end this episode of Wizards of the Tower.
Role play.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and spread the word and ring the bell. So may all your adventures be epic.
And keep on rolling.
Thanks
folks.